So I do want to start this video right away by saying huge W to Joe Mixon, taking his pay cut, allowing us to keep the pieces we need like T. Higgins, Joe Burrow's extension, Logan Wilson, DJ Reader, all these guys. Because when you really break it down, we break it down in this video how amazing this pay cut is. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So Joe Mixon is taking a $4.39 million pay cut this year and a $4.67 million pay cut next year. That means his base salary this year will be $5.51 million with an extra $2 million in incentives. What it actually ends up working out to is almost $6 million with the signing bonus included in that. And of course, with a $2 million incentive, so he can make up to $8 million this upcoming year. Obviously, those incentives are going to include rushing stats. So if he hits over 1,000 yards, rushing touchdowns, games played, there's probably also an incentive in there if he is the premier back for a certain amount of games. I know teams will love to make certain incentives like you have to play 65% of the snaps. You have to play 70% of the snaps, meaning that he has to at least be the premier running back for most of the season. So obviously if Chase Brown ends up becoming the premier running back for this team, then he won't hit those incentives. But most of those incentives are going to be a little bit easier for him to hit, and it just kind of, incentivizes the player saying, hey, listen, we appreciate you taking a pay cut. You can make some of that pay cut back by just having a really good season. Now, as Ian Rappaport says right here, and it's very true, this opens up the possibility of him sticking around next year too. It absolutely does. Because, again, he's not going to be a cap casualty next year. You gotta realize, guys, is he was due to make $10.1 million this season. That's a $12.7 million cap hit. And listen, I love Joe Mixon, and I hope Joe Mixon continues to succeed in this NFL, continues to succeed with the Bengals. But at the end of the day, paying $12.79 million for a running back is not the best thing to do. Especially with this team, when you have so many pieces and so many players that need to get paid. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Logan Wilson. Like, you can't justify spending that much money on a running back. So that's why there was rumors of them cutting him. But in the end, it worked out because, again, Joe wanted to stay with the team. He wants to win. He's choosing legacy over money. And, of course, this is just another beautiful example of the Who Dey Nation, Who Dey culture being put in this locker room where it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, we want to get paid, but we want to also win a Super Bowl for the Queen City. We want to be successful for the Queen City. And it's less about money and it's more about the team. It's more about the fans. It's more about Who Dey Nation, which is absolutely amazing. So I put the contract into over the cap here because they didn't add the contract yet. Here's what we have, okay? We're going to have $19 million now. We had $14 million before. This is an extra $5 million that we're getting over the next 2 years, which is, wow, a huge freaking W, okay? I'm just going to tell you this right now. This is an absolute huge W. Again, I said last night, but I don't know how many people watched that video because I uploaded at like 11 p.m. But pretty much how this works is that we can use this money now for that T. Higgins extension, right? So, obviously, how I think they're going to work the T. Higgins extension and the Joe Burrow extension and probably all of these extensions is they're probably going to put money toward the future. So, they're going to give them not as much money up front and kind of backload the contract. Not in a negative way, because I know backloading contracts in a lot of senses can become negative. What I mean is that they're going to kind of save themselves this year and then kind of put the money toward the future. Because there's different TV deals that come out in the future. So all these guys are going to get the money, but they're going to kind of push it toward the future so they don't have to, kind of get fluffed over right now because they only have $19 million on the cap, right? So, and if you saw doing the math here and you give, Joe Burrow $20 million this year, and then again, that's the low end if you backload the contract, I don't know, 15, 16, maybe up to 18, 19 million, and then so on, you can see how the cap kind of gets destroyed, right? What you do is you give, I don't know, like 15 million to Joe this year, then you do like, how do I put it? You have 15 million to Joe, and then again you're gonna give like 4 to T, this to this, this to this to this and this. But then next year you have Joe making like 45. You have T making like 22. So hopefully that makes sense. So again, like I'm not a salary cap expert, so I'm not gonna be able to explain it in the most perfect way possible. But you structure it so you don't have to, be destroyed this year. But again, this does speak to the fact that you are going to be losing some players in the future. So players like Joe Mixon here, who take this pay cut, who saves the Bengals $5 million, that saves so much in the future. So if other players, and I'm not saying any other player is going to, but let's say if another player, Jonah can't obviously because he's 12.64 guaranteed. But if other players do take pay cuts, then that all adds together. So it keeps you on the team for longer because we can afford to pay you even with all these, contracts coming up. Because if we're being honest, Joe Burrow's contract's gonna cost an arm and a leg. And I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you, that's just how it is. If you look at Derek Carr's contract with the Saints, Derek Carr this year is making $1 million. Let's sink in. He's making $1 million this year. That's because the Saints have no salary cap. So he's gonna be making $1 million this year, 45 next year. That's how you structure it correctly to avoid problems with the cap. 1 million this year, 45 next year. You can also, with these contracts also, you can put signing bonuses, the money in the signing bonus, and put voidable years on a contract. This way, again, you avoid having to pay the, player right now up front. They're still going to get their money. It's still guaranteed. They're still getting paid. But what you do is you can push it 5 years down the line. So in 5 years down the line, as we can see, salary cap's 272, 195. Obviously, that's taking into consideration that, like, we go down the line here, all these free agents are not brought back, right? But at the end of the day, you can get more money in the salary cap, so you can push the money down in the future. So, again, like I said, just absolutely huge W for Joe Mixon here. Love to see it, and hopefully he has a fantastic season because I can't wait to see how he progresses even more, especially helping us out like this. I mean, this is making him a Bengal for life. And you can see right here, so 12.7, and next year he's going to make 13.1. So that would definitely, not be the greatest. And then, again, the rumor was if we cut him, we save $10 million. So it's like $10 million, are you paying him 12.7 and 13.1? Now he's going to be making a ballpark range of 5.51 next year. So again, that's before you add in all the bonuses and the salary cap adjustment. But still, very, very awesome. Can't wait to see him play this year. Guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.